let's ready to rumble.
We are online. I think so.
I think so. Okay, let's start. Hello and welcome everyone on today's webinar. The topic of the webinar will be frequently asked questions. And all of these questions, what we will present you today, are delivered from you. So some channels with emails was contacts on the YouTube channel or the Facebook questions, and altogether we have today a lot of questions to discuss with you. In case that you need something more deeply investigated, some details, please do not hesitate to use the chat on YouTube or channel
Facebook,
that you can Facebook. Yes.
Also. Okay, and then welcome you once again, Marcin.
Tomasz,
yes, we are in the technical support of the AC company, the producer of the STAG components. We are in very good condition despite of the fact what is happening in the
not all over the world,
right? Not only in Poland but in all over the world. So that's why it's a little bit different form of our webinar.
So as you see, it's not a typical usual place where we are doing the webinar. Also, the components that we are using, the camera and the microphones, are not the professionals. So sorry for some disturbances or some small inconvenience related to this place and to this stuff. And I think let's follow.
Yes. Only one thing. If you have some problems with sound or the video that you have on your computer, just write down in the chat.
And we'll apologize for that. Yes,
we can try to make it better next time.
Or just make repeat something. Yes,
right.
To be clear for you. First question is, I will read it. It is, why the fuel consumption on the STAG 400 is so high? That's the question.
That's the question. Well, the answer is that the truth is that when we are working about our system, we are trying to develop our system. We would like to increase the functionality of our system. We need some time and we need some tests. And after the test that we made in the laboratory, and we made the test on the real engine that is installed in the car, the system is installed in the car, we need to make some kilometers checking the consumption and checking the real life of the petrol injectors, because this is the main reason why the system is using too much or so much petrol. In our system, we have that consumption of the petrol is because we made some tests. We are sure that with those values that we have right now, the petrol injectors are safe, let's say, in general,
safe
right?
Conditions,
yes, that's right.
Temperature and the clear
that's
the end of the nozzle is clear enough, yes, because of algorithm process of spraying the petrol in the cylinder.
Right. And the amount of the petrol.
Yes, and the amount flow of the petrol is enough to cool it down and to still hold the proper flow by the injector nozzles.
So that's why we have that such consumption. It's the safety reasons. The safety reasons, you are 100% sure that with our system, the fuel injectors will last very, very long time. So,
exactly. But there is sometimes but there is something additional information needed related to this, that we are meeting sometimes some engines similar with existing on our support list by the STAG 400, but in some cases we are meeting the different firmware software in the petrol issue, and in this case the reason can be the little bit higher petrol consumption, because it's related to some different readings of the petrol amount flow in this particular engine. And in these cases, the best solution is to record the data from the petrol issue, from the petrol and the gas issue during drive, and send it to technical support. And we can analyze that these parameters, and we have an influence on the petrol consumption in this particular case. If it will be too high, we can reduce it to the level of the proper petrol flow, if it's still too high, yes. So in these cases, please contact us, your support, technical support, direct technical support, or contact us.
That's right.
That's the solution, in case. Okay, the next question we can follow.
Okay.
How to calculate the savings on driving on alternative fuel, yes, LPG or CNG. And how to calculate it? There is a few solutions. I think one of the easiest and one of the also friendly for the user is to use mobile applications. If you have a smartphone, a lot of persons today they're using smartphones. So in case it's Android system, you can use using Google Store. So now we will show you just briefly way how to find it. So you can go on the Google Store installed in your smartphone. Then I will show you the screen how to do this. So if you're already on the Google Store, on Google Play, there's the new name of this product. Write down the STAG and or AC STAG, then you will see the few applications. And there is two applications. One is STAG gas computer, and second one it's working on some European countries. Also STAG in the trail, yes, on the road. On the road. More easy to use in relation to the countries not related to the Poland, it will be used to use STAG gas computer. This applications allows you to read the petrol data. It can also shows you the gas issue data, comparing to some analyze. So we can also use EcoDrive gauge. It helps you to find the conditions to drive as eco is possible. Yes, also economical, ecological, and this gauge helps you to live streamly find the conditions of the driving the car more economical it's possible. Yes, what it is. Then also, if you input the data in relation to your fuel tank capacity, it can allows you to measure the calculations, measure the fuel consumption related to petrol, related to gas. It can show you average fuel consumption. If you put the cost of 1 liter, it will show you also the cost to driving 100 kilometers. It will help you to analyze the costs of your fuel and economy of the driving, yes, using alternative fuel.
Right, and don't worry about the language of the application, because when application
Google Play is localized. Yes,
right,
that's why we are in Poland.
That's right. But even if you install the version from Polish side, our application will recognize the language of your telephone and switch automatically
yes.
to
So
English
it will
language, right?
Yes, it will be translated automatically in your language. Yes,
right,
working like this. So in relation to the calculations of your savings, this will be the best application that you can handle it. Also, you can use some calculators on the websites. Yes, there is many calculators that you can input the data about your average fuel consumption, about the cost of installation, and they will help you. You can use writing in Google LPG savings, yes, and there is hundreds of calculators. But we can deliver you a ready tool. This tool you can use in relation to connect with your issue. It's very accurate application, yes. So that's why we are talking about these applications. And let's follow the next. And the next question is installation in authorized services, yes, workshops. So this question is related in some countries because we have our net of authorized workshops all over the world and Europe. Not all of the countries we are supporting with this solution, but in the countries when you use the net, yes, and install the car in the net of this authorized STAG services. And the first very important thing is that all the warranty issues or the warranty fixes are without expenses, no matter which one service it is. Even you install the car in the Poland or in the France or I don't know, in the Bulgaria, you can use the one of our authorized net workshop to get some fixes or something related with the warranty without any costs. Yes, that's the main factor that can help you to choose the net.
Right.
Yes,
depends of the, just like Marcin said, depends of the country. There are different benefits. There are different benefits. So in general, when you are in the net of our service with our authorization, for sure you will have some benefits. But which benefits, it depends on the country, right? Different countries has different benefits according to the service with our authorization. So the better way is call our one of our authorization service and ask about the benefits that you can achieve, right?
Exactly. Okay, and the follow next question, and the question is, okay, the tank capacity is 60 liters. This is an example, yes. And during the refilling of the 60-liter tank, the maximum capacity of refilled fuel is 48. It is something wrong with it or no? This is the question. And the answer is that the fuel related to LPG, because this question should be related to LPG, not the CNG.
Right.
LPG fuel is in state of the liquid in the tank. And because the liquid in the tank, we need to prevent the high temperature influence on the pressure in the tank. It occurs that the liquid, excuse me, that the liquid fuel needs to have also the free space in the tank. Around 20% of the space should be refilled by the gas phase, because the gas phase can be squeezed and the liquid phase cannot be squeezed. So in case of external heat source, the temperature inside the tank is going up and also the pressure is going up. And to prevent some dangerous situations, we need to have this air gap in the tank. And this air gap is calculated to be safe for the tank, to be safe for exploitation. It should be close to 20%. So if in this case that we are talking about 60 to 48 is exactly the 80%. It means that everything goes in this system like should be. But in case that if you calculate the full tank is 60 liter and after full empty tank refilling takes more than 48, it means something wrong with the safety valve, with the multi-valve. And also if it goes more than lower than 48, like 42 or 40, also it's an issue. It's issue probably related with false montage or false some issue on multi-valve. In case of you have 49 or 46, this is not an issue. This is a factor of margins of error, yes. But if it goes more than 2 or 3 liters, you need to also go to workshop and find out what's the reason of this issue.
Yes, that's right. So in general, the whole capacity, 80% is the capacity of the LPG that you can put to the tank.
Exactly.
Right? 80%.
Exactly.
the safety
and
reasons.
because we told something about CNG. So in case of CNG, the CNG is in the gas phase in the cylinder. So we are refilling just the system need to hold down the maximal pressure in the tank. It's automatically filled in the refilling station. The pressure is stabilized at the end. So there is no issue with refilling the CNG tank comparing to LPG.
That's right. It's not change the phase, right? It's
exactly. It's just the gas phase. It's not occurring any issues with refilling it.
That's right. That's right.
And the next question is, okay, what's the engine
living time
comparing LPG and petrol? Yes.
Right. Right. Well, when we are talking about the let's say living time of the engine, according to the LPG, all depends well, the first thing, the installation, how the installation is made. If there are no errors in installation system, the components are good, in the good condition and the good quality. The first thing, and the second thing, of course, if the components that you are installing in the system and you have in your engine is checked before the installation. I mean, if the power of the engine is, for example, 240, 250 horsepower, you cannot install the reducer that will work with 150. Right, it's not enough pressure of the gas, especially when you are in the higher PM, for example. Right, so the first thing, the good quality components. The components, I think, from one brand is another thing. It's because, for example, when we are talking about the petrol injectors, gas injectors, sorry. Gas injectors, the opening and closing time of the gas injector is different when you have the very low temperature of the gas and when you have very high temperature of the gas. That difference, the characteristic, temperature characteristic, is in the memory of the controller, in the firm of the controller. So when there is one company who is producing the controllers, the one company who is producing reducers, the one company is producing the gas injectors. When you have all the components from the one factory, let's say one factory, you are 100% sure that all the components will work together very well. And finally, it will increase the living time of the engine when you have the LPG installation, right? I think
exactly. There is no such of directly influence on the engine. If everything is set up properly, components are chosen properly with the one brand, we can guarantee that the engine lifetime is similar to petrol, sometimes even longer, because of deposits of LPG burning in the engine. Comparing to petrol, they are much more less. Yes, if we compare it together.
Right. And the very important thing is not to just to be sure that you have good quality components. For example, I saw the situation one of the country in the South of America where, according to CNG, the CNG one of the workshops. Installed the gas tank, the CNG gas tank. The gas tank was only painted with new yellow painting, okay? Yes, like yellow paint. But the CNG tank had, I think, 28 or 27 years. And finally. I saw the car or the parts of the car when that tank exploded, right? And it's because somebody was not taking care of the good quality components, right?
Okay, let's follow the next questions. And the next question is how to control the valve clearance in the engine supplied by LPG or CNG. And the question is related to about what we should do with the interval, with the millage, yes? The main information what we should concern is the information from the manufacturer of the engine. If the manufacturer of the engine of the car just put the service information about the maintenance is needed, of course we need to do this the same on LPG or CNG, but it should be shortened 40 to 50%. So for an example, if the manufacturer put a maintenance of the valve clearance measurement to 90,000 kilometers, we should shorten it, this maintenance to 45 or 50,000 kilometers. That will be the best possible solution to get handle the proper maintenance of the engine related to valve clearance. Yes, in engines with hydraulic compensation of the valve clearance, of course, in this case, there is no needed maintenance on petrol, and similar, it's not needed on LPG or the CNG fuel. And that's all. So 40 to 50% shorten at the time.
Of the
of maintenance, the valve clearance. That's the answer in the simplest way.
Okay, the next question. The next question is lower power on LPG. Is that true or not? Generally, when we are talking about the physics of the both of the petrol and the LPG, yes, you can have the little bit lower power when you are driving on LPG, but all depends also of the petrol ECU. Why? Because if the petrol ECU is more advanced and that petrol ECU can recognize that there is some difference in the combustion of the petrol or any other fuel, it can also change the moment of the spark in the combustion chamber, and then you can have that situation that you are driving, even you are driving on LPG, you can have the same power of the engine. Even sometimes you can have a little bit higher power of the LPG. But generally, if ECU is that doesn't change anything, you can feel a little bit less power when you are driving on LPG. Of course, if you are going to use the CNG instead of LPG, you will have a lot of more.
It's more fillable, and also the influence is much more bigger. So
less power.
In case of CNG, because the difference between LPG and CNG from point of chemical difference, physical and chemical differences are much more bigger. The burning time of CNG it's much more longer in the combustion chamber. So we are losing even 20, even 25% more than on LPG. In this case, we need to manage the ignition. We need to advance ignition angle more than it's advanced normally on LPG on petrol. So what we need to do, we need to add TAP. It's timing advanced processor. Yes, TAP product of our brand STAG. It's TAP03. We have two solutions. TAP03-1. It's for inductive sensors of the crankshaft, and TAP03 then 02. It's designed to work with digital sensor for the crankshafts. And then it's necessary to use it after the installation of CNG system. We need to advance using TAP from 10 to 15, even sometimes 20 degrees, yes, of the angle. And then we can gold power and efficiency, of course, of the engine. So the fuel consumption will be lower.
More economical.
Yes, the engine will be more efficient on the fuel consumption. So it is necessary to use in these conditions. Of course, CNG. It needs to be done. 95% of the engines after conversion on CNG require to work smooth as possible and efficiency as possible. The
main goal of the installation. Right.
The next in relation to how it works and to pay additional money for the system with
connection.
Yeah, and the answer is that of course not all cars are supporting OBD channels. Yes, because if you related to the market went very low, so in countries when your emission is close to Euro 2 or Euro 3, there is no such of reasons to add some money to the system with OBD. In relation to higher than Euro 3, and then your OBD system supports also some functionalities that we can use to have a better efficiency of the CNG or LPG system. Yes. So in this case, of course, there is some relation, because we can read using OBD some additional information that if you use these informations to calculate more efficient gas dosage, that's as simple as possible for effects. Additional functionalities is that if we are connected with the OBD, we can also arise some errors. We can diagnose the petrol issue. We can arise errors on petrol, or also some errors related with not direct with the LPG system, but with some additional accessory system like evap system. The evaporative system is a system that take vapors of the petrol and spray into the manifold. But this system, during driving on LPG and CNG in some particular cars, can occur during drive on CNG or LPG, some errors, yes, on OBD, some check lights or something, and there is no simple method to prevent it. The simplest way is to use OBD and arise this error.
Yes, just like, for example, the circuit also of the level of the petrol.
Yes, we're meeting some new cars are generating the OBD error with code related to petrol level sensor. Yes, like, and in these cars, during drive all LPG, CNG, from time to time, petrol issue generates error from the petrol level sensor, and check light is arriving on the desk, so the customer can be, of course, angry at this, and there is no also simple solution at this. The fuel level emulators doesn't help in this situation.
Right. That's what I want to say. Yeah, that it's not according to the level of the petrol, but the check light according to the
yes. We are meeting the check. Yes, we are meeting the check light on the dashboard, and there is no such solution today. This is not possible because it's related with the petrol algorithm, and we cannot follow the even emulating. It's related with the fuel. Real fuel consumption is not existing. Yes, petrol fuel consumption is not existing. That's why issue delivers this error on the dashboard. And for today, the only one simple solution is to add this error for auto-arising. So in these cases, in these cars with the particular problem, OBD error, add auto-arising, and this error will never appear on the desk. Yes, right. On the dashboard.
And one benefit more is that if you have the OBD connection, you can also use the auto-adaptation mode, right?
Yeah.
That's so. You can set the settings. You can make the settings of the gas controller manually,
But if you have connection to OBD,
it's much more easier.
Yeah. And yes. Many cars, the auto-adaptation, the OBD auto-adaptation mode is working very well. So this is another benefit, that is the advantage of connection to OBD system.
Exactly. So let's follow to the next question, and the next question is comparison question: OBD to ISR adaptation. What's the difference? Yes, and the difference between these two adaptations is that the source of the informations. OBD, it takes the short trim and long trim. It's fewer trims corrections, and the ISR auto adaptation takes the petrol timings and creates petrol timings maps, and then it's comparing the petrol timings on petrol and petrol timings on gas, and comparing to this, it calculates the proper gas dosage to have similar petrol timings comparing these conditions. And then this is like a main differences, and also the where to use particular solution. In some cars, the OBD informations related to corrections is not enough, because their strategy of the petrol issue is to hide some corrections. In these cases, we cannot use OBD adaptation because it's not working smooth, and sometimes it occurs some problems during drive, switching from petrol to CNG on LPG, or back to supplying to LPG with some jerkings or with some check lights related to the P0 170 and so 71 or 72 errors. In these cases, if we delete the errors and still adaptations occurs this mixture problem, we can switch to ISR3, and ISR3 will take the petrol timings and analyze these petrol timings and fix the issue with auto adaptation will work, but with different source of the information taken to the auto adaptation algorithm.
Yes. Right, and also just like somebody asked, it's not way like this that the ESA3 auto adaptation mode is working only in older cars, and in the brand new cars you need to use the OBD auto adaptation. You can also use it. You can use also ESA3 in the new cars. It's no problem for that type of the auto adaptation to work properly.
That question is is the system is safe for collisions? Yes,
LPG
in case LPG systems is safe. What are the protections? In relation to this question, we have an video answers for you. We made some crash tests on LPG fuel car, and you can find these movies. I will show you where to find it. If you are now on the YouTube, you are on the YouTube Autogas system channel, on our channel. If you press it, the videos that you can find, I will show you where to find it. Show you the screen. Now you see the website is YouTube channel. This is the main website when you see all the movies. STAG Autogas systems, and then scroll down the web, and you can find English, Russian, Espanol, French language. In case that we are talking now in English, see, you have here crash test of LPG fueled car, and then we record the movies, and these movies that is here. These movies was created. This was generated accident in PMOT Institute. In this institute, they made a crash test of 2 cars, and both of these cars were supplied by the LPG fuel. You can find the details in relation that the persons from fire brigades put some comments on the situation. There was an analysis about what was happened. So also the professional technical person described the situation, described the details about what's the safety purpose elements on the system, how they work. So all informations you can share with your customers. You can see how it works. You can see the slow motion video, what's happening inside the car. Right. All the protection systems works. So on details in relation to the safety in collision situations, please use these videos and extend your imagination about this.
And what is important, according to those videos that we made, that videos present the crash test of the car, that the front of the car is hitting back of the car. So you can also check what is happening with the gas tank in this situation.
Exactly. Right? All the components are analyzed in this situation. So I think you can find more details in relation what's happening there. Yes.
During the crash test, exactly. Yes, and the safety of the gas installation in general, right?
And all protection components, how they work in the system.
Yes, because of course that inside the multi-valve you have four
protection elements.
Yes, according to the big flow of the
and also there is a lot of explanations how they work. Yes, right. So you can find this, and that will be the simplest way to answer this question.
Right.
And follow the next question.
Yes. One more thing. If the video is in Polish language, don't worry because they have subtitles.
Yes, subtitles are in common languages. Yes, in the Spanish, in the Russian language, in the English language. And the next question is fuel emulator question. FLA, FC, and JC. How to choose proper emulator? Okay, so the answer is that the main reason of these letters, FC is a French car and JC is a Japanese car. And the group of this French car is the Petrol, Renault, and Citroën cars that they require fuel level emulators. And JC, and the Japanese cars are Toyota, Honda, Lexus, and Mazda cars. In these cars, we use JC, yes, in these conditions. Right. And the main differences between these two emulators, we will show you on the manual. Right. I will show you manual.
Yes, access to the manual you have directly from the STAG software, or you can also find our manuals in our website. So it's easy way to find the proper scan in our manual.
Exactly, and what we can see here, it's fuel level emulator boiled in the Q box plus. And then you have a graph how to install it, and there is an attention point. And what is very important that in FC you need to connect as it follows, yes, and JC it means that you need to read the information. And what does it mean? It means that there is a main difference is that in one solution you need to cut the wire of the signal from floater to vehicle ECU, and in this case. This yellow and green after cutting, we are connecting in JC. Yes, in Japanese cars. In case of FC, you just to this wire, uncut it. You didn't cut the wire. You just take the yellow wire and connect it to this wire together. Nothing more. And this is the main difference between these two FC and JC emulators from point of view of connection. And then, because this is a fuel emulator built in the QBox Plus, in case of external fuel emulator, very important thing is to connect the plus from ignition switch. It should be connected to the ignition switch, not to the fuel pump supply or other sources. It should be connected with the ignition switch. What does it mean? It means that after turning off the ignition switch, the voltage should be zero on this signal. In What the reason of this is that the way of circuit measuring the floater and of the car, it's happening after switching on and switching off the ignition. This is the moment when emulator should work, because it's the moment when the vehicle ECU is reading the floater level. That's why we need to emulate it in proper moment. And the source of the ignition signal is very crucial for these external simulators.
Yes. And then also
Indeed.
the important thing is the connection of the brown wire here in the emulator built in the Qbox, because it's important to connect it to the float ground. For the measure circuit, not for the supply circuit of the
fuel pump,
because the measure circuit of the float.
And then we can be sure that the system, the emulation will work properly in case of these three connections in integrated, and the fourth connection of the signal of the ignition switch is the crucial to work the system properly.
Yes, and one important thing, because there are also I saw also the situation that don't forget to check proper box in our software. Yes, if you are connecting FLFC, you need to check in software that you are using FLC. If you're connecting JC, you need to check.
And this is what Tomek is talking about now. He's talking about here. This is the point of the fuel emulator. Yes, if you have the fuel level emulator, FC and JC. Yes, don't forget to choose proper one to emulate properly. Yes, because even you connect properly and choose wrongly, still it will not work properly. That's why this is the reason of the place that you can choose proper emulator in Qbox. In the advanced settings, go on advanced settings and choose proper one.
Right, that's right.
Okay, then we can follow back to the questions, and we have still a few minutes, so let's I'll accelerate a little bit. The next question is
this one.
Okay.
Yes, because
fuel pressure emulator question.
Okay,
yes, fuel question. Okay. Read the question.
Right. So there are cases that when you are using the Qmax controller, this controller for 6 or 8 cylinders, the built-in emulator of fuel pressure, FPEA, is not working. What can we do in this situation?
And the main reasons of this situation is this fuel level emulator, pressure emulator, FPA, built in Qmax, requires one important thing. You need to connect the source of the RPM to the coil or to the crankshaft sensor. You cannot leave it as the source is from injection timing. Yes, because fuel pressure emulator use petrol timings instead to work with the algorithm properly, and it needs to read also RPM, but not from the petrol timings. It needs to read RPM from other source. That's why, to work properly, don't forget to choose and to connect the RPM source. Yes, in FPA. This is the questions last few weeks or months is appearing. Yes, that way we put it.
Right. That's right. And also the proper connection. Yes, not to forget when you are connecting the FPEA emulator. I mean proper connection to the controller of the fuel pump.
Yes, and I'm meeting sometimes the questions related to the fuel emulator, how to connect it. But still, it's like a base step, because in AC stack applications, you have all the manuals included in applications, even the fuel level emulator or fuel pressure emulator. Yes, so just please use the. I will share the screen with you, and don't forget that in case of you need some manual, you get it in the software. Yes, all the times. You go to here to the help and documentation. See, help and documentation, and all products with the Q and also with the diesel and STAG 400 is included, yes, in documentation. If you open the documentation, see the window is opening, new window, and this window is having 2 generations, STAG 400, STAG diesel, and STAG TAP, and it's included all the manuals, and also it's information with the fuel emulators, with the pressure emulators, and it's manual in your language, in Espanol, Portugal, Russia, Italian, and Polish. Also in Chinese, in the application that you can find the languages. And then also there is some wiring diagrams, yes, in English, wiring diagrams for all ECU, for all our products supported by AC STAG application.
That's right. Okay, Marcin, I think that we can make answer for the last question for today meeting, because the time is running out. Because why? Because it's also question
with the fuel,
with the emulators. So we can end the cases with emulators.
Okay, let's follow on. So the question is related with in the new cars with the manufacturer of Honda 2080, 2090, the fuel emulator FLE-JC is not working properly. What's the solution? That's the question.
Yes, that's right. Even it's the JC emulator, so there's a solution for the Japanese car, and of course the Honda is the Japanese car.
Is included in,
right?
But so in case of described here,
right, it's not working. Why? It's because the manufacturer of Honda, Honda manufacturer, changed the resistance of the float in those cars. 2008, I think they started from 2013.
Some cars even with Civic 2017, yes, working 16, 17.
Yes, that's right. So they changed the resistance of the float. Our JC emulator is working with the maximum resistance of the float around 550 ohms, right? And those cars have the float, the resistance of the float is around 800,
yes,
something like this.
Just much more higher than
much more higher. So that's why the JC is not working. What is the solution? The solution is fuel level emulator JC2, but 2. Right? We have on the market JC2, and you can use that emulator. Right now, this emulator is not built in Qbox Plus, Qmax Plus, Qmax Plus controllers. You can purchase it separately and connect that JC2, just like you are connecting the JC.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So if you have Japanese cars where the JC is not working, you can install the JC2.
JC2 is working in these cars. Yes,
that's right. That's right.
And because now our time is finishing, and we didn't finish all the questions now and the answers. So for the next webinar, probably the topic will be the second part of this frequently asked questions for you. Yes, right. So we will finish the second batch of these questions answers for you on the next webinar. So please feel invited to FAQ2 webinar. Follow the Facebook, follow the YouTube, and then we will see the exact date of webinar the next time. Thank you for your time today. We wish you great health in the next few maybe weeks, maybe months, and wish you hope this situation related with this virus thing will finish as soon as possible. Wish for you, wish for us.
That's right, and thanks also for the Maciek who is working at home and helping us on the chat. Answering your questions.
Thank you very much.
So you can send the question for us, and we can increase our list. And for sure, we
send some more questions with extended. And see you next time, guys.
Thank you very much.